On-chain gaming. It's not a place where you just play games. It's also a place where you get to lose a bunch of money while you do it. At least that's what some people feel like right now, because I know a lot of investors are feeling the pressure. Where's the bull market? Where's the money? So I wanted to talk a little bit about parallel TCG, the economy, the Prime token. It's a financial video, not predicting prices, not doing any chart analysis, but we're going to talk about the ecosystem and the financial side of Parallel a little bit, because I've heard some I don't know how to put it. I'll just say some salty vibes from some investors, not in a way that's unreasonable, but just a little bit of like a man. When are the prime syncs gonna start working? When's the money gonna start flowing? I feel a little bit of that from the investors that I talked to, and I kind of wanted to give my 2 cents. So I think the future is definitely bright for Parallel, including the Prime token, including bonds, including economic viability of the game as a whole. But I also understand investors are definitely carrying a lot of weight right now. It's hard, but it is necessary to be patient. Let me explain where I'm seeing this as someone who has been paying attention for a bit more than a year, but has dived in all in the last month or two. So I've got some history with this, and I've also got a bit of a fresh perspective. And of course, in case you don't know, I've spent years grinding on chain card games. I have 8,000 hours streaming on Twitch. At least half of those are playing on chain TCGs. If I had to guess, like a solid 3 or 4,000 hours. So I've got some experience here for sure. The current state of Parallel is a lot of investors, a lot of competitive players, and a lot of aspiring professional or fully professional content creators, aspiring or already pro. We do not have a lot of casual or intermediate players yet. So this is great for competitive players. They're very happy right now because, of course, they get to compete and cash in on these huge, huge prize pools. The Parallel Major, my glasses are the Parallel Major. Each one has like a $50,000 prize pool. There's a $100,000 Manila tournament qualifier that just happened last weekend, another one in about 2 weeks. It's a great time for competitive players, but it is a terrible time, in the short term at least, to be trying to take profits or to generate any sort of cash flows significantly on the investment side. But is this a sign that Prime is not going to work, or is it a sign of long-term issues? I do not think so. So right now, we are not at scale, and the entire economic model of Parallel is built to work at scale. It shouldn't be surprising, in my opinion, from my perspective. It doesn't seem surprising that we're not seeing a lot of activity on prime syncs or other economic stuff. Like, we're not seeing investors making big trades, getting a bunch of money, having all these cash flows from the prime syncs, masterpieces popping off, bonds popping off, being super profitable. We're not seeing that stuff yet, for sure. We're seeing people whose prices are down and who are having maybe some low liquidity. And then, they're printing promo versions of cards, and some people are getting a little, worried about that and all this stuff, right? Here's my thing, though. In my opinion, having really paid a lot of attention to a lot of different on-chain card game businesses, I think if you try to make things look better in terms of optics or in terms of generating more short-term cash flow for investors, that would be 100% shuffling the chairs on the Titanic, to use that Peter Thiel phrase. Like, the Titanic's heading towards an iceberg, and you're going to shuffle the chairs around. You're still going to hit the iceberg. I don't think Parallels like the Titanic. It's not a great metaphor, because we're not heading towards an iceberg. We're heading towards the sunset, to a bright future, I think. But it's the same idea. If we're trying to manipulate the short-term cash flows and sinks and the way those metrics look, it would probably not be to the benefit of the game's fundamentals of what it needs to do long term. And I just don't think that can be the focus of either Echelon or Parallel Studios. I'm speaking, of course, just from my personal opinion. I have a sponsorship deal with Echelon Foundation for some streaming that's not really related to this video. This is just my personal thoughts, just to be super clear on that. So, like, we aren't even able to get useful data yet. I think that's the important thing. Like, the systems right now, we can get a little bit of data, but we don't really know what it will look like with a full ecosystem until we have tens of thousands of casual players. Like, we need 10, 20, 30, 50,000 players who play for fun, who spend money to have fun and don't expect to make profits. Maybe in the long term, if they buy some NFT cards, they might hope to be able to flip them. But, like, the kind of people who are spending money on Fortnite skins and buying Elden Ring DLC and spending money on, like that TCG shop simulator. I spent $15. I'm not going to make that money back. I mean, I guess I do content with it, so there's a little bit of that. But like, even when I play it off stream, right? Like, I'm not making money on that. We need that kind of activity, and we have some of it, but not nearly enough, because that's how it works. You start out with the parallel strategy with the investors, then the competitive players, then the content creators, then the casual players, intermediate. This is being done in a certain order on purpose, and we can't get cold feet, and we can't start trying to massage the data to sort of ease the stress of like, where's my cash flow today, when the plan has always been it's this 3 to 5 year whatever time frame thing, where in the right order we build this foundation so that when the time is right, things pop off. Is it guaranteed? Of course not. Nothing's guaranteed. Do I personally believe Parallel can become a game with tens of thousands of daily active players, and then even far beyond that? Sure, I absolutely do. Like, Parallel can become one of the biggest card games in the world, I think. That's why I'm spending so much time on it. But trying to use short-term earnings, trading, liquidity, stuff like that as a measure of the game's long-term potential, to me, it's like trying to taste test a cake by eating a raw egg. You're only tasting an ingredient. You're not going to get any sense of the full dish. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy a raw egg yolk as much as anybody. Like that, when you pop it and it's just like the yolk goes everywhere. That's great, but it doesn't tell me anything about what a cake's going to taste like, right? But I think that's the mindset for me right now, is we're really looking at the ingredients, not the final dish. We need time for them to come together in the oven and bake up. And of course, it doesn't mean to ignore the concerns of investors, and I completely understand people being stressed or annoyed at watching certain things go in a direction they don't want in terms of like cash flows and liquidity. But it seems pretty clear to me that the energy and attention around the game is increasing. Twitch streams getting more active, more streamers, more viewers, more content. Twitter continuing to pop off, just getting bigger by the day, I think, or at least definitely maintaining the energy and the amount of people that it's had at the very least. And, YouTube is the toughest one. Parallel isn't really that active on YouTube. Like, people don't watch that much over there, but there's a lot of people trying to post YouTube videos, and the first step is to post content. They can't watch it if it's not there. You even see people doing TikTok and other platforms. So all that stuff is where players will come from that will enable us to even see if this ecosystem makes sense. Until then, we just can't even get the data. So one thing I would say in the meantime, I'm definitely hoping for Aftermath packs to be priced affordably. I don't know exactly what the number is, but I hope they'll consider that investors and bonds and collectors are definitely carrying the most weight right now in terms of like putting their money on the line and having to be patient. So I do hope that that Aftermath packs will be priced with that in mind. Not to the extent where they devalue cards or anything, but trying to make it where it's exciting to buy them, and it's not like buying something at NFT prices. We should be hopefully pricing these closer to regular TCG prices as a sort of way to say basically thank you to people who are going to be buying these cards, supplying cards to bonds and stuff, because it is going to be a while till we really see just if this stuff is going to work in terms of cash flow and profit and stuff. So rare financial focus video, but I just felt like it was good to talk about. I've talked to some people and I've gotten some vibes. So that's my thoughts on Prime, Parallel, and the whole ecosystem. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I'll see you in the next one. Flux signing out.